You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, and today the Giants fell to the St. Louis Cardinals in a historic and quite frankly surreal game at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, the first field that Willie Mays ever played professional baseball on and the oldest professional ballpark in the United States. Rickwood Field hosted the biggest names in the Negro Leagues and in Major League Baseball throughout its 100-plus year history, which baseball paid homage to today. The whole thing was dripping with pageantry, living history, and just an incredibly surreal vibe. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you tuning in, and make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode of Locked On Giants Postcast is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked-on. We will get through this game today, the highlights and all that as we normally do, but this game, man, this whole event, it's really not about this one single game. Yes, there's a ton to get into. Don't get me wrong. Keaton Winn, there's a massive, massive problem there. The Giants starting pitching staff as a whole, a massive issue. We can break that down a little bit later on and get into some of this Giants offense. Elliot Ramos, dude's an all-star. I feel like I'm doing the same show as I've been doing every day for the last week. Giants pitching sucks, and Elliot Ramos is really good. That's there's your game summary from me. We'll get into it a little bit later, but first, man, I want to take you guys through all of the other stuff that was here today, because really for this one day in baseball history, all of the pageantry, all of the history around this game is really what was more important than this one single game out of a 162 game season. Don't get me wrong. I know that you guys are all tuning in for the Giants recaps and all that stuff, and we will get into it, but I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't primarily focus on the history of what we just witnessed and what it really means, and give you guys some context for these things. So Rickwood Field, let's get into it. It was the first minor league ballpark built of steel and concrete back in 1910. 1910, over 100 years ago. Went by Rick Woodward, built the stadium. He actually put himself in the first starting lineup, in like the real starting lineup, to throw out the real first pitch, like not a ceremonial first pitch. Dude actually went out there on the mound and threw a pitch. It was a ball, but he did throw out the real first pitch of the yard, which I thought was just a kind of a funny note, and he then subbed himself out for the rest of the game. That was back on opening day, August 18th, 1910. August 18th, also a pretty special day because it's my birthday on August 18th. If you listen to the Murph and Mac Morning Show, you know, if you did listen to that show, you know that I celebrate birthday month all of August anyways. Of the 351 members who have been elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, 181 have played, managed, umpired, or led a baseball team at Rickwood Field sometime in its history. That's insane. More than half of Major League Baseball, or right about half of Major League Baseball's Hall of Famers have been there. Standing room only crowds in a lot of these Rickwood Field games back in the day. It was a very, very, very popular place, and it saw all five. 181 of the 351 Hall of Famers saw all five Hall of Famers from that first Hall of Fame class. Ty Cobb, Christy Mathewson, former Giant, Walter Big Train Johnson, and Honus Wagner, and obviously Babe Ruth as well, to round out that first five who were inducted. The Birmingham Black Barons, who Willie Mays made his professional baseball debut with at that very same Rickwood Field when he was just 16 years old. His dad wouldn't let him play baseball on school days, so he had to go to school during the week and could only play on the weekends. That was good enough for the Black Barons, and that was good enough for Willie Mays, who made a major impact with that team. We'll get into that a little bit later, but the Black Barons won 3 Negro League Negro American League champions in championships, in that next decade. They were led by Lorenzo Piper Davis, and he was their player manager. And if you were listening to the broadcast today on Fox on MLB on Fox, man, Bob Kendrick just floored me today, man. I am so impressed with all of the stories. That dude was just, he was telling him like he was there. And this is a guy who's heard all of these things secondhand. But I am floored not only by the storytelling ability of a Bob Kendrick, but just the knowledge, man. All the stories that guy has. If you did not see Bob Kendrick on the MLB on Fox broadcast, it's not too often that I'm recommending people go check out the MLB on Fox broadcast. But my God, that was one of the coolest things I have seen in a baseball game ever. Some of the coolest stories I have ever heard. Went through so many players that I frankly don't know enough about. And I think of myself as someone who knows a thing or two about baseball. I do this this is my job, you know what I mean? And I was still completely blown away by all these things that I just felt like I was so, just woefully uneducated on or undereducated on. And I'm so glad to have been able to watch this game, man, and listen to these stories. Bob Kendrick credited Piper Davis with being Willie Mays' one of his biggest on-field mentors in the game of baseball, as someone who actually taught Willie a lot about how to play the game of baseball, and told an interesting story about Willie Mays facing Satchel Paige for the first time and getting a double off of him in his first at bat, only for Satchel Paige to tell Willie Mays in his next at bat that, tell him verbally that he was going to throw 3 straight fastballs to him, and Satchel Paige did just that and struck Willie Mays out. As Bob Kendrick told it, Willie Mays smiled and chuckled as he was going back to the dugout, thinking, I just got struck out by Satchel Paige. And that's, if that doesn't epitomize Willie Mays, man, what does? I went out to Oracle Park today, and there was all sorts of pageantry there. We got to get into that as well. But the vibe, man, you could just feel it. You could just feel I don't know if it's the presence of Willie Mays or how to describe it, but just it was hard to be sad, man. And you heard this said on the broadcast a couple times, it's hard to be sad when you're thinking about Willie Mays. It just is. I cried the other night when we found out mid-game that he had passed away against the Cubs. But I was just filled with joy, felt so connected to Giants fans, baseball fans all over the world. It was so cool to be at the yard and see all the people who came out for Willie. I got to break down that scene in detail a little bit later for you. But back to Rickwood, as I said, Willie Mays was 16 years old when he made his debut with the Birmingham Black Barons at Rickwood Field, and he helped them to win their only Negro League title in 1948. He played 2 more summers with the Black Barons before he became a Giant. Won Rookie of the Year, won a couple MVPs, and Willie Mays just honored everywhere today. There was all the murals in Birmingham that we've seen. We saw the telecast showing pictures of it, clips of it before and during the game. We saw all the 24s all over the place, all over Oracle Park today as well. Just amazing pageantry. MLB didn't miss the mark on this one. Everyone wore a 24 patch. I think the only thing they could have done to make this better would be if everyone actually wore a number 24 jersey out there on the field today. I think that would have been so cool. But I don't think Willie Mays himself would have wanted that. I did talk about this on the show the other day, saying that I really wanted baseball to do that. But in thinking about it more today, Willie Mays really wanted everyone else in the Negro Leagues to be honored as well. He did not want this to be just about him. He wanted everybody to to be talked about, because there were so many great players from the Negro Leagues that made major impacts in baseball. I mean, how many guys came over from the Negro Leagues and immediately won MVPs? I think it was something like Derek Jeter was talking about it on the pregame, and I think he said something like, I'm gonna mess up the number, so I'm not even gonna get accurate. I'm not even gonna attempt to get it right. But a majority of the MVP awards in like the first 10-15 years after the leagues were melded, they were all former Negro League players that were cleaning up with the MVP in Major League Baseball. So if these guys are, the competition was equal, if not greater, in the Negro Leagues than in Major League Baseball at that time. But Rickwood Field obviously has not been, it was a minor league ballpark. It kind of fell out of favor for a little while. In the early 1900s, after Comiskey Park was demolished in Chicago, a group of citizens got together in Alabama and formed Friends of Rickwood Field, an organization that was there to help preserve the history of that jewel of a baseball park, a cathedral, the oldest cathedral of baseball parks that we have still standing in this country. And in 1992, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. Currently, Rickwood Field hosts some 150 amateur games a year, from high school baseball to baseball camps to travel baseball. It's even home to HBCU Miles College. They play their home games there. How cool would that be, man? And as I said, Willie Mays made his professional baseball debut there in 1948 as he helped lead them to the Negro American League Championship. And they honored all of that today, man. And just the stories on the broadcast was amazing. And I do want to point out, the final score of this game was 6-5. You guys know what Willie Mays' birthday is? It's May 6th. It was May 6th, 5/6. So final score today was also the date of Willie Mays' birthday, which just gives me goosebumps, man. And this was such a great thing by baseball to do, to honor all of the Negro Leagues and all the amazing players who played there, and especially to honor Willie Mays. We got to actually get into the game a little bit. As I said, Keaton Winn was terrible. The Giants offense, they did okay today. They collected 11 hits, and 5 runs is kind of been the magic number for the Giants this year. If they score 5 or more, they usually win. Today they did not, and that is because of Keaton Winn. We got to get into that more. But on the other side, first, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what Oracle Park was like today. I did go out there. I ran into some fans of the show while I was out there. That was kind of cool, and just connected with tons of old friends from KMBR. Saw all the Giants fans out there, and just really soaked in the vibe and soaked in the particles out there at Oracle Park. We'll get into that on the other side, plus breaking down the Keaton Winn problem a little bit later in the show. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Here on Locked On Giants, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest for your team, whether it's off-season draft, spring training, pregame, postgame. It's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed tax professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season, I hope that's the case for you. You might need help filing, and need help filing correctly. Call 1-800-549-1000. Again, that's 1-800-549-1000, or visit tnusa.com/locked on. See the link in the episode description below for more details. And today's show is also sponsored by Policygenius. Shopping for life insurance is something that can be overwhelming for many people, and that's why I'm here to tell you about Policygenius. Policygenius is the country's leading online marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $229 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you compare options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step, which is important because many of you may not be as well covered as you think. Your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants fall 6-5 to the St. Louis Cardinals out at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, the very first field that Willie Mays ever set foot on as a professional baseball player at just 16 years old. And today, if you're in San Francisco, if you're around Oracle Park, it was open. You were able to go out there and watch the game. They had all sorts of pageantry around the yard. So many people out in front of the yard, even before they opened up the gates. Gates opened around 12. So nice long day at Oracle Park for everybody. If you got out there, they allowed all the fans to walk around the outfield. There's a big 24 statue out in the middle of center field where if Willie Mays had ever played at Oracle Park, where Willie Mays would have stood when he played center, and the details around the yard were astounding, man. As I said, like, I'm sure you guys have seen all the stuff on social media. Just the Willie Mays statue out at 24 Willie Mays Plaza has like a multiple foot high pile of flowers, of funeral flower arrangements, of mementos, jerseys, flags, anything you could think of. I saw Modelo sitting up there. Just fans leaving all sorts of mementos for Willie in honor of him at the statue. A very emotional sight there too. Some people getting teary-eyed, people taking pictures. It's the emotion is palpable in front of Oracle Park, really all around Oracle Park right now. And inside, as I said, they allowed fans to walk down onto the field to sit and watch the game in the outfield on the Jumbotron. I got about half the game there before I came back to the apartment to do the show. And man, it was amazing just sitting out there with all the Giants fans taking in the game, and even pregame, all the festivities going around the yard. Actually, I don't know if festivities is the right word. It wasn't a very festive vibe, but there was in addition to that 24 statue that was kind of in the middle of center field, they also had a memory book that all the fans at the yard could sign out in the middle of center field at the warning track, in the warning track dirt, right up against the wall, where you have to assume if Willie Mays played at center field or played at Oracle Park, if Oracle Park was around 50 years ago, Willie Mays, or longer than that at this point, Willie Mays would have made a catch or two probably at that warning track, at that wall, in that spot. So you could kind of use your imagination and put it all together while you were standing out there. And so many people just sharing stories with each other and remembering Willie Mays, because everybody's got a Willie Mays story. Even, you guys know where the Giants put all the retired numbers up out down the left field line. It's in club section, like right on the railing there, right between club and view reserve. And they have all the numbers lined up out there, all the retired numbers, obviously including Willie Mays's number. And around his retired number hanging up there was a big orange funeral wreath. So it was the Giants didn't miss a beat. They knew exactly what they needed to do, and they rolled it out. And the Giants have also said that there's going to be some kind of public ceremony service event to honor Willie Mays for the fans that they can all show up to, and or anyone really don't need to be a baseball fan to be a fan of Willie Mays, and with as much as he impacted culture and life in America. So there's going to be some kind of public event there to honor him and his life. And wow, man, just an amazing day to honor Willie Mays. The Giants did a great job. MLB did a great job. And of course, not just Willie Mays, but honoring all of the Negro Leagues and everybody who paved the way for what we have now in Major League Baseball, and this great, multi-diverse, like, just checkerboard pattern of different people from different backgrounds and ethnicities all coming together in a sport that we all love. People who would otherwise never interact with each other, all connecting over this game. We gotta get into this game now. Eventually, we're gonna do it. I promise. On the other side, we got to take a quick break. One last thing about my time out at the yard. Ran into a fan of the show. Ran into the homie Joaquin, third-year student at Cal Poly. Go Mustangs! And he said he's a big Giants fan, avid listener of the show. So shout out Joaquin. Great to meet you, my man. And thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for everyone else who's tuning in too. Appreciate all of you guys. And stick around. We're going to get into Keaton Winn's day on the other side. Going to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix gets you a stylist who understands your style, size, budget, and they do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. It's year round. You get a professional stylist who helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, my style, my budget preferences, and I order boxes when I want, how I want them. No subscription required. They send me 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. You know I need that. It's always the hat or a hoodie or a jersey. That's pretty much it. So I need all the help I can get. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist knows just what I need. They always have the right fit. It's always on point. It's just like they have Style ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me all that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look and feel really good. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Now, the best time to get started at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $100 off. That's $25 off your first 4 fixes for a limited time only. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $100 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of signing up. Offer does not include kids fixes. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants fall 6-5 out at Rickwood Field. And it is a bummer that the Giants lost this game. Don't get me wrong. The Giants now 36-40. Keaton Winn looks terrible, but really, that's not the story today. The story is the pageantry, the remembering Willie Mays, remembering the Negro Leagues. And that's really what it was out there at Rickwood Field today. But there was a baseball game that was played, and the Giants didn't do as well as they could have done. Keaton Winn looks disastrous right now, man. I don't even know what to say about this guy. He was baby Logan Webb at the start of the season. Today, 2.2 innings pitched, 2 2/3, 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 1 walk, only 2 strikeouts, gave up a bomb, an absolute missile to Brendan Donovan. His ERA is now up over 7.16. And this is not a small sample size for Keaton Winn anymore. He's 3-8 on the season. A lot of these starts came while he was injured or sick and just in bad situations and rainy weather. But at a certain point, there's no more excuses, man. You're running out of goodwill with Giants fans here if you aren't already out of it. And the issue is, though, I don't know what the Giants can do, man. At this point, you only have 3 starting pitchers that are healthy on your roster. You got Keaton Winn, you got Logan Webb, and you got Jordan Hicks. You can't just pitch Logan Webb and Jordan Hicks and have 3 bullpen games before you go back to Logan Webb. I mean, I guess maybe if you ask Gabe Kapler, you could probably do that, but that's absolutely not going to be something that's beneficial for this Giants team. This bullpen has been just I mean, overworked, overused. They need somebody to come in and actually pitch a game more than 4 innings long. Keaton Winn only 2 2/3 today does not work out very well for the bullpen, who had to throw 4 arms to get through this one. The bullpen actually did a very good job today. Only gave up 1 run over the rest of the game, over basically 7 innings, 7 1/3 innings. So great job by the bullpen to hold it down. Rodriguez had a little bit of a bumpy road getting out of that jam after he came in for Keaton Winn in the last of the third. But the Giants offense did do their job today. I mean, 5 runs, the Giants have shown this year, when they score 5 runs or more, they're gonna win some games. It's a problem when the pitching doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. That's the main issue for these Giants right now. It doesn't seem like they can put together a complete game. You either have the bullpen showing up and the bats showing up, and you don't have a starting pitcher who shows up, or you have a starting pitcher who shows up and the bats show up, but the bullpen gives it up, or you have the starting pitcher show up and the bullpen show up, but the Giants can't hit. So it just seems like they're not able to put all of these phases of the game together. And it's been a problem, man. It's really been a problem. And even when all 3 of those things show up, sometimes the Giants defense, it just decides they want to kick a few around, and then they lose that way. And so it's been a very frustrating recent go of it. Every time the Giants get close to 500, it's like they're allergic to 500 or over it. They just immediately start losing some games. They're now 36-40. We were just 1 game out from 500 a couple days ago. Now 4 games back from just getting back to even. And we're closing in on the halfway point of the season, and it's leaving a little bit to be desired. But I do have some optimism for this group. You got a whole starting pitching staff on the injured list that is looking to come back. Alex Cobb, I don't think we can rely on at this point. With as many setbacks as he has had at this point, I think Alex Cobb even just rejoining the Giants is probably a win for that guy. Who knows how effective he's going to be when he comes back. Blake Snell, it's a lot's going to be riding on this guy. And I know you guys probably don't want to hear that, but Blake Snell is going to determine a lot in this second half of the Giants season for how this team goes. If he comes back and he becomes Blake Snell that he was last year, the Blake Snell that the Giants have never known, that would be a massive lift for this team. I think that would be enough to put this team into that last wild card spot. Honestly, I don't think you're going to need a whole lot. You have a ton of very average teams fighting for that last wild card spot, including the Cardinals, who the Giants just lost to, and the Cubs, who the Giants just lost a series to. So neither of those things are very good. Got to start winning some games against these teams that you're probably going to be competing with when it comes down to the wire at the end of the season in September. But you got Robbie Ray, former Cy Young winner. You got Blake Snell, former Cy Young winner. You got Alex Cobb, and you got all these young kids. You got Hayden Birdsong, Carson Whisenhunt, Landon Roop is still down there in AAA, although he's had an oblique issue. So you got all sorts of arms waiting in the wings, getting ready to come back. The Giants really need these guys to come back. I mean, we've said this a bunch of times, but man, oh man, do the Giants desperately need some of these guys to start coming off the injury list and contributing to this team. Don't forget about Tristan Beck. He was also pretty good last season towards the end of the year before he had this what was it, an aneurysm in his arm in the early season, which just sounds terrifying. That's awful. Also, Kyle Harrison will come back at some point. Like, you have a whole starting rotation on this injured list. If let's just say 2-3 of these guys, let's just say even 2 of these guys come back and give the Giants what we think they can do. If Kyle Harrison comes back and is Kyle Harrison, and if Blake Snell comes back and it is Blake Snell, I think that's pretty good. You can go Keaton Winn, or not Keaton Winn, excuse me. You can go Logan Webb, Jordan Hicks, Blake Snell, Kyle Harrison, and then pray for rain or have a bullpen game or something on that 5th day. And then you can start to work Keaton Winn out of this rotation. But right now, Keaton Winn's just going to get that start. It does not really matter how bad he is. They need an innings eater. And I don't really know what the Giants can do here, man. Like, there are not a lot of options. There's not a lot of places for the Giants to look for for relief in this instance. Keaton Winn is kind of essential to this pitching staff right now. If he can just get his S together, then this would be a lot easier for the Giants to kind of tread water until some of these starting pitchers come back. But at this point, I mean, injuries are part of the game. I don't think anyone expects their entire starting pitching staff, 5 starting pitchers to get injured in one season. That's insane, especially all at the same time, maybe throughout the season, but to have 5 guys, 5 different starting pitchers all on the injured list is absolutely incredible bad luck for the Giants. Don't forget Jung-Hoo Lee injured, out for the season. Lamont Wade Jr. really wish that baseball would have let the Giants play Lamont Wade Jr. today. They actually petitioned to bring him back off of the injured list early for this game, and baseball said no. Shocker. Rob Manfred, tone deaf in a massive historical moment for baseball. Just tone deaf, completely tone deaf. I'm not surprised. So it is a bummer that the Giants lost this game. Again, 6-5. The Giants fall to the Cardinals. Starting pitching, big problem. I will say, they did get the tying run in scoring position there in the 9th inning. Pat Bailey came up with 4 hits today for the Giants. The club as a whole collected 11 hits on the day. It wasn't an offensive problem today. It wasn't. Keaton Winn just gave up 5 runs in the first 3 innings, and that's really hard to come back from. Although the Giants have done a pretty good job coming back from these things later in games, as we all know, they've hit very, very well late in games. Also, Elliot Ramos, we said it once in the beginning of the show. I didn't say it enough. Dude needs to be an all-star. Flat out needs to be an all-star. He hits another home run, his team leading 10th bomb of the season. He leads the league. He leads all of Major League Baseball in RBIs in the month of June. It's June 20th too. We're like almost at the end of the month. It's not like this is just a week of him doing this. Like, this guy is just unreal. Dude needs to be an all-star this season. He needs to go represent the orange and black out at the all-star game, which, it was also nice to see the Giants starting center fielder hit a home run at Rickwood Field on the day that we remembered Willie Mays. This game, again, yes, the Giants lose. They're 36-40 on the season now, but this game is far more about the history and all the guys who came before the players that we have today, all of the Negro League players, Willie Mays especially. This day was for them. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Even this is probably my favorite Giants loss of the season, and I hate to phrase it like that, man. I'm not happy the Giants are losing games, but this was really cool to be able to honor Willie Mays. The only thing that would have been better is if Willie was able to see this, man. It just breaks my heart. Reading the quote from Willie Mays himself, where I'm probably not going to get this exactly right, but where Willie said, "It's amazing that after all these years, Rickwood Field is still here, and so am I." Rereading that quote now, just a couple days after his passing, it makes me tear up, man. It chokes me up. It devastates me that Willie wasn't able to see the impact that he had firsthand. And I mean, I think he knew. We saw his son out there today, and his son was on the field pregame with Barry Bonds, and talked a lot about the history of the Negro Leagues. Talked a lot about his dad and what his dad would have wanted, and I think Willie, he said, kind of tongue in cheek, Willie knew what he was doing when he left this earth just a few days before this game. So it's sad. It breaks my heart that Willie didn't get to get his flowers while he was still here with us, but Willie will never be gone. Willie Mays' spirit will live on throughout this game. As long as the game of baseball is played, we will be talking about Willie Mays till the end of time. That's all the time we got for you today. I'm getting all choked up. I gotta wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in today. Bummer the Giants lost, but wow. What a historic event today at Rickwood Field. Thanks for tuning in. That's all the time we got today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Giants off tomorrow, but we will be coming to you live after their game Saturday. They continue this series against the Cardinals, not at Rickwood Field, but at Busch Stadium. we'll come to you live then, and maybe we'll have some Brandon Crawford news. We did have a Brandon Crawford sighting at third base today for the Cardinals, his first career start at third base. That was kind of interesting. We'll talk about that and everything else from this game. We'll get back into more of the baseball nitty gritty on Saturday and Sunday as the Giants wrap up this series against the Cardinals. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.